Hey everyone, the modern day taboos have to be rejected by normalizing the unutterable words. Whether you love him or hate him, there's a video circular around of Andrew Tate in a recent podcast in which he describes a scientific experiment about monkeys and a banana. Take a look.
What you think becomes true. We all believe 2 + 2 is 4. But with a hard enough psyop, if you can't say that, if you have to say it's 5, on a long enough time frame, math breaks down and everyone's just going to believe that 2 + 2 = 5. That's what happens.
You think we're going to get there?
Have you ever seen the experiment? There's a really interesting experiment with monkeys and a banana and a water spout. Have you ever seen this? They put 5 monkeys in a room, and at the top of the room there was a banana. And when one monkey tried to climb up to get the banana, they'd turn on the hose and splash all the monkeys with ice cold water. So the monkey would come back down and wouldn't get the banana. And when another monkey would go to climb up, they'd splash all the monkeys with ice cold water. And what would happen over time is, when a monkey went to climb the rope to get the banana, the other monkeys would jump and pull him down and hit him and teach him a lesson. Don't go for that banana. If you go for that banana, we get splashed with water. Mm-hmm. Then they'd swap one of the monkeys out. Now there's a new monkey in the room who doesn't know the game. The new monkey would attempt to climb, and all 4 monkeys would attack the monkey, pull him back down, and kick his ass. He knows if he climbs the rope to get the banana, he gets attacked. He doesn't know he gets splashed with water if he gets the banana. He doesn't know the game, but he knows if I try and climb, they're going to attack me. After a certain amount of weeks, they change another monkey. And another monkey, another monkey. Over time, you have 5 brand new monkeys who have never been splashed with water ever. But nobody goes to climb the rope, because if they do, they're attacked by all the other monkeys. And nobody even knows why.
Damn.
That's just how it works. If you climb that rope, we'll beat you up. That's just how it works. That's what they're doing on a long enough time scale to humanity.
Now, people can debate whether this experiment actually happened or not. I'm not really concerned about that. What I am concerned about is how I think this is a great allegory of our situation today. The same way that the monkeys are afraid to get the banana without really knowing the reasons why, I think kind of mimics the way that we in our contemporary world hold certain taboos to be true without ever knowing the actual reasons why. And many times it's simply based on fear and ignorance. And so taboos have always existed in every culture throughout time. And for the most part, they kind of exist as a good, as a necessary good, because there are many actions, norms of assertions, moral acts or whatever, that should just be deemed through basically well-formed moral intuitions to be wrong, right? And so there shouldn't really be an explanation why it is bad, for example, to take your 4-year-old daughter and mutilate her or eat her flesh or rape her or do whatever. Like, we should know from our basic moral intuitions that that is wrong. We shouldn't require a deep philosophical conversation of why that is wrong. However, we're seeing this change rapidly in our contemporary world. Just 15 years ago, it was pretty obvious that it was wrong to take your 4-year-old daughter, give her hormone replacement therapy, wait till she's a teenager, take her in to get her healthy breast chopped off, to form a fake penis out of her tissues and the muscles from her arm, and put her basically on medical care for the rest of her life. This was just viewed as obviously wrong. You shouldn't do that beginning with your 4-year-old child. The same way that we now still believe, at least, that it isn't good to eat the flesh of your 4-year-old child. Now, what has gone wrong today is that we have an extremely flawed set of first principles. From default atheism as the neutral standard to the long philosophically debunked meta-ethical system of utilitarian and consequentialism, and of course like the contemporary relativism or skepticism that we talked about on a previous episode as our epistemology, we have probably the most insane sets of taboos that the world has seen probably since the Aztecs. And because of our malformed consciousness, we do have malformed taboos. Before the insane world, unutterable words that we have seen throughout history was basically like blasphemy or overt sexual discussions, especially in front of children, or simply making public lies. These things were just viewed as taboo, that you ought not to do these actions, because we had a more basically well-formed consciousness from basically more rational and coherent first principles. And obviously there's variations that we have seen through culture, but more often than not, it functioned within the same first principles. Today, that changed drastically. With our contemporary religion, we do see different forms of original sin. In the U.S., you see that slavery and racism for the U.S., they claim, is their original sin. So because of that, there are certain blasphemous words that cannot be said. There are certain unutterable words that can make you lose everything in your life if you begin to say it. Obviously, certain words are within racial slurs. And other conversations, for example, Hitler as being their epitome of evil, their icon of absolute evil within their kind of weird, obscure Manichaean religion. And then you have Martin Luther King Jr. as being almost a Christ-like figure, that if you say even true things that he did or true things that he believed that are bad, you're not really able to utter those words without consequences within our society. And there's a growing number of countries that are starting to make, for example, the taboos against transgenderism illegal. That if you don't affirm the gender that your child is claiming to be, that you can actually either lose your child or go to jail for abuse. And if you don't think this is going to be happening in our country, then you're a fool. I mean, California is already passing laws that are pretty much making any debate against transgenderism as a hate crime, and especially when it comes to your children. So they're really not interested in debate. They're not interested in rational discourse. You're not going to sit here and start making syllogisms to them or coherent inductive arguments to them that gives you the probability. What they're really simply concerned with is control. And they believe that they've already won. Just think about it. How often can somebody say true statements that are contrary to many of these leftist taboos that has now become mainstream taboos and are able to keep their jobs? So many conservatives, obviously rightfully so, are scared to ever speak up. They're scared of violating these taboos because they know they'll lose their job. They know they'll lose future prospects for work. They're conditioned the same way that the monkeys are conditioned of not getting this banana. They're conditioned in the exact same way. Many of them don't know why they're not able to say these words, but they capitulate and they follow along, based out of fear and ignorance. And so the fact that they're not concerned with rational discourse, I would say neither should we be. Now, amongst those who want to learn more, obviously, we need to be concerned with logic and reason. Those who actually want to know the fundamental principles, that's why I kind of formulated this show. But in terms of our actions against them, if they're not willing to converse rationally, if they're not willing to have an actual discourse and adhere to logic and reason, then that's beyond our control. That's beyond any kind of rational argument control. So what we really need to be doing is overtly violating these taboos, violating the ridiculous, unutterable words. And we need to be doing it constantly, and we need to be doing it publicly. We need to normalize these things so that we can be free to speak. It shocks their senses. That's what it does. It shocks not only people on the left senses, but it shocks the senses of just ordinary people who are indoctrinated with all this nonsense, and they don't know why they believe in it. They don't know why they're adherent to it. They don't know why they stand with it. And the only real way to do it is to shock them. And when you shock their senses, you can begin to destroy these taboos. Whether you choose to fight against the gender goblins in their lies, or whether you choose to fight against the race hustlers in their lies, or the atheists in their lies, or just all of them all at once. What you have to realize is that you cannot fight against them with pure logic and reason. They're not concerned with it. You fight them by breaking their taboos, by breaking the cycle, by saying what is true. Just think about what this means for your children. If this is what we're experiencing now, and it's gotten this bad now, what will it be 20 years from now? When my kids go to jail for being Catholic, for stating what is true. Where they never find work because of truth. This is terrifying things for them. The world is getting more insane. And the more that we adhere and capitulate to their taboos, the worse it will get. So, let's not be like the monkeys, scared to get the banana. Be one of the crazy ones that says, fuck it. Let's do it. That's your show for today. Thank you.